Hello, this recording is to discuss the work order management functionality, how it is realized in Network Engineer as well as in 3GIS. This is to help or aid customers who are moving from Network Engineer to 3GIS with a real world example of how this key functionality in Network Engineer is realized in 3GIS. Both are very similar in the way they approach as well as realize the functionality. That is to allow the workflow for a particular work order type from planning design to construction phase or field work phase to redlining as well as making the records as built. What you see on the screen is a network engineer work order manager with the types of work order and status of the work order, and a typical workflow of how engineer starts a work order and then performs the necessary actions and transition it to construction, and how a construction realizes the work to be done, and then finally supervisor reviews and completes the work order. And that's a typical workflow, but again, each company has got their own unique workflows that they want to apply or configure. So the configuration is easy in both systems based on the experience that I have gone through in working in both organizations. Some organization wants to have approval mechanism in place. Some organization wants to have a shorter life cycle, longer life cycle. So all of that is possible within the system. And the key things that allow such a configuration and such a workflow to be realized are the status of the work orders, which status the work order is in, whether it's engineering state or construction state or as-built state, and what work order types, what type of work order, so that you can define the work life cycle based on the work order type, and how the work orders can move from one state to the state, the transition of work orders. Right. So there's three key things that allow the work order to have its own individual life cycle, and then allow the transitions and the work to be managed in multiple stages. Let me quickly move to 3GIS application. What you see on the screen right now is a 3GIS admin application. This is equivalent to any toolbox. Any toolbox also an admin application, right? And that application is a thick client. Whereas in 3GIS, everything that the user touches and works on is a web-based client, whether it is managing the network records on a graphical user interface or creating some admin-related rules. So in this work orders tab here, I've got work order statuses that allows me to create multiple statuses and manage them. I can add them and delete them and manage them. For example, the open status is configured to be held by a user if required, and users can delete the work order when the work order is in open status. And it can be activated, which means that you can open the work order and start working on it. And it is configured to be the initial. That's the first status of the work order when it's configured. So that's how you can configure multiple statuses within a particular system here in 3GIS. Then these are used to configure multiple work order types. And I've got 3GIS web open right now, and I've got the work orders tab open. That's work order manager, and I have multiple work orders that are already listed here in the tabular view. When I click on a particular work order, in the bottom pane, you see the other properties of the work order, status of it, and other stuff. And I can activate the work order and then use other functionality to attach and do other things here. When you create a work order, you would see the different types that are configured. So in this case, I've got 6 different work order types that are configured. For example, if I pick up engineering work order, the status of the work order is configured to be open. That is starting status and activation and create work order. So multiple work order types can be configured, and as I mentioned earlier, the life cycle of each of these work order types can be configured, can be shorter or longer life cycle, whatever that is required for the particular organization. So if I click on the work order in the work order manager pane, and I see on the tabular view, you see the different work orders and their current status, etc. At the bottom view, you see multiple other information. So I can use the bottom pane to actually transition the work order. So for example, this particular work order, I can either transition to complete or cancel. So there are two different work order types that are configured from this particular records open status to what user can do. Similarly, if I go to the next one here, task test, right now it is authorized and the type is customer connection work pack. If I click on the pencil button here, I can only transition to CCWP complete, because once it is authorized, all the work is done and it's now final status. If I go to CCWP cancel work order here, if I click on the pencil box, it's a final status, so I can't even transition to any other status because it's a final status. So the only thing that you can do then is delete the work order. So that's how different work order types, work order statuses, and the transitions for these work orders are realized within 3GIS. Thank you.